Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles DeBanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment. We give you guys a fresh perspective on things, and now we see them in today. We have a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Also, be sure to sign up to our Dreamers Pro membership that we have pinned in the comment section. You don't want to miss out on what we got going on over there. Anyway, so let's get into this topic here, okay? So as you guys know, Fox Sports FS1 has been at the the number one headline, rather, over the last 3 weeks or so, at least the last 2 weeks, ever since that story broke of the 42-page lawsuit involving Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, Charlie Dixon, and some other people working there at the network. But even before this news came out, there were a lot of shakeups taking place at FS1. You look at the move of them essentially firing or getting rid of Skip Bayless, and then they had to reshuffle the entire show. You had Emmanuel Acho and others. They now have that new show, what is it called? The Facility. Shannon Sharp left over a year ago. That really shook up the infrastructure, what they were doing on there. They brought in Keyshawn Johnson, Paul Pierce, and then later on, now you have a show with Joy Taylor and Keyshawn Johnson and Paul Pierce. The only stable thing that seems to be going on at that network is the show that they have, which is called First Things First, with Chris Broussard, Kevin Wiles, and Nick Wright. I think that's their best show by far. Those guys have excellent chemistry with one another. There's no doubt about it, right? So in the midst of all of those things going on, you have ESPN, who seems to have been getting it right for like the past 2 years. Well, ESPN has always been the lead dog in all of this, but I mean, it seems like they've been making all the right moves. They brought on Pat McAfee. They brought on Shannon Sharp, who was a boon for ESPN First Take. And when he first got there were days when they were bringing in 800,000, 900,000 viewers on a particular day. It was just crazy stuff. They were breaking their own records. They had what is it? You have that going on. Of course, you have the contract negotiations around Stephen A. Smith signing a $100 million plus deal. And he actually alluded to it on TV not too long ago, where he kind of made a joke about it on live. I think Brian Windhorst was there that day. I could be wrong, but I think he was there because I remember seeing it. So you have all of those things going on, and then you have all of the drama taking place at Fox with the Tom Brady hire, which we're going to get to a little bit later. Remember, they gave Tom Brady a $375 million contract, and people already complaining about the job that he's doing. So I was going through the internet today, and I came across a pretty interesting article here from Front Office Sports, and the article is titled, NBA TV Ratings Shift Again, as ESPN is now up 5% for the season. So this is the article that I want to get into first, because we got a bunch of stuff that we want to get into here. Let's get into this one first. The NBA didn't wait until the new year to try to turn around its viewership narrative. Following a 5-game Christmas Day slate that delivered on an average of 5.3 million viewers, 87% more viewers compared to last year, the league announced Monday that viewership on ESPN platforms is now up 5%. Total league viewership is still down 3%. When mixing in TNT, which did not have the rights to any of the Christmas Day games, but it's a massive change from the 18% drop the league was looking at before the holidays. It then continues on. Other positive notes from the holiday include the most watched game of the season between the Warriors and the Lakers, which averaged 7.9 million viewers. The Christmas opener between the Knicks and the Spurs drew in nearly 5 million viewers, which makes it the most watched noon Eastern time, I guess, game since 2011. The finale between the Suns and Nuggets was the most watched late night game ever, with 3.9 million viewers. It also says it's worth noting that the NBA simulcast all 5 games on ABC, which it last did in 2022. Okay, so you got that there. Now, why is it important to point out this particular footnote? The reason that's important is because you got to remember, ESPN is paying $2.8 billion per annum. Not million, not 280 million, $2.8 billion a year for these NBA games. So for the numbers for them to be experiencing a bump there, it means ESPN has figured it out once again. Like, they figured it out once again. But now if you look across the hallway and look at what's happening in Fox Sports, let's just talk about, for example, what's happening with Tom Brady. I want to read from 2 quick articles here from Awful Announcer. One of them says, Vince Wilfork not impressed by Tom Brady as a broadcaster. Throughout Tom Brady's first year at Fox, many of his former teammates, including Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman, have spoken out on his behalf despite the many criticisms he has received from media pundits. But on Tuesday, his old New England Patriot teammate, Vince Wilfork, opted not to sugarcoat how he believed his former quarterback was handling himself in the Fox booth. Wilfork, who played with Brady for 11 seasons, appeared on the Boomer and Gio show on Tuesday to discuss a number of different topics, including Bill Belichick's looming tenure at UNC and the NFL playoffs. He then continued on. But just before he left, he was asked about Greg, what he thought of Brady's broadcasting abilities. Hey, before you go, what do you think about Tom Brady as a broadcaster, he asked. Wilfork responded by staring a hole through Giannotti that indicated he believes Brady has certainly left a lot to be desired as a broadcaster. I don't know, said Wilfork after blankly staring at Giannotti. I've never been stared at before like this in my life, replied Giannotti. Other than my wife, she has given me those eyes. I mean, he's very knowledgeable of the game, said Wilfork. Like, that's what it is. But I would rather him be my quarterback than on TV doing what he's doing now. I love him for my quarterback. So you have that opinion there. Then I want to read from another article there. It says, Chris Russo, Tom Brady needs to stop being over analytical. Continues on. There have been plenty of suggestions of how Tom Brady can improve in the broadcast booth, and Chris Russo offered some more advice on Monday. Russo advice could be boiled down to 3 words: less is more. Brady has faced a steep learning curve in his first year as a color analyst for Fox #1's broadcast booth. The legendary quarterback has been called out on various times for not adding any useful analysis, for overlooking information he should have known, and for having a perceived conflict of interest given his minority ownership stake in the Las Vegas Raiders. That's left many fans and those in sports media wondering, are these typical struggles for a rookie broadcaster, or is Brady not cut for the role? On Monday's edition of Mad Dog Unleashed on SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Russo praised Brady for working hard in his role. Yet Russo thinks he's trying to do too much. The issue is that I have with Brady and all analysts is that they want to tell you too much. Tom, like everybody else, wants to analyze every play, every minutia of every play. And sometimes simple is the way to go instead of being over analytical. Sometimes just less helps, and no announcer does it, and Tom Brady doesn't do it either. So that's what Chris Russo said. That's some of what his former colleague had to say. And the issue then becomes, they gave this guy a $375 million deal. I think over 10 years, paying him $37.5 million a year. I think without a doubt, he's the most highly paid analyst or broadcaster that they have at Fox. But then if you look at FS1 losing out on Shannon Sharp, for example, and he goes over to ESPN and he's bringing in major ratings. And who knows whether or not his role is going to expand with the network, because remember, he's an NFL Hall of Famer. So chances are, if they want to expand his role at the network, he could be on Monday Night Countdown. I don't know if the ESPN has it, but on their football shows and so many other things. So it just seems to me, from a roster construction standpoint, from going out there and creating these interesting, engaging shows, ESPN seems to be doing it better at a much more consistent clip than FS1. And if you now bake in this new lawsuit, it is clear that ESPN is absolutely dominating Fox Sports, and it really ain't even close. And I don't see this thing changing for a very, very long time. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.